everybody. This is Clare Kennelly from Inclusive World Training, and I'm here today with Brendan Ward. And the two of us have been running a working age forum for people with vision loss for the last couple of years. But we're doing a short workshop today, a role play workshop, and that we're hoping will benefit everyone with a disability. So this is our little gift to all our communities for International Day for People with Disabilities. Over to you, Brendan.
And that's exactly why you'll see Claire and I have lovely shades of purple, because purple is our color in the community of people with disabilities around the world. So we have, as Claire said, been running a working age forum in Ireland for the last 3 years. We had a session in November, and in that session, we had part A of the workshop. And what did we do? We dived into the topic of core values. Why are core values important, and how can they help us talk about our disability? How can they help us with disclosure? So today, Claire and I are going to run through a small version of the workshop. We did it live in November with the whole group, and we wanted to put it online for those who missed the session, and also for anyone else, whether you're blind or visually impaired like we are, or you happen to have a disability, or you happen to have a health condition. These could be very helpful exercises. So part A is Claire asking me 4 questions. That's the exercise we're going to do together today. And then part B, which we'll be coming back to in the new year, is asking ourselves, how can we use the material from today to help better prepare for interviews? So today is part A of the exercise, getting to those nuggets, those insights, those key insights that can help us. And then part B in the new year, we'll come back to reflect on. So what does this mean for interview preparation, and how can we use the material from today to help us answer questions more confidently and persuasively in any interview setting? So with that, I'm going to hand back to Claire, who's going to pop the questions.
Okay, thanks, Brendan. So I'm role playing that I'm interviewing Brendan for a job in an organization. So let's get started. Welcome, Brendan. As you know, our values in our organization are very important to us. But can you tell us, what is a core value that is important to you?
Claire, a core value for me, one of them is curiosity. And I think curiosity is core for me because it's something that needs to be in my life day to day for me to, have a sense of purpose. It gives me meaning in my life, understanding things, finding things out, learning about people. So for me, I feel that a huge source of energy and motivation in my life, in my work, is curiosity.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And Brendan, can you give an example of a choice or an action or a decision in your work or in your personal life that demonstrates this core value in action?
A great example that comes to mind is way back 25 years ago, even longer, when I was deciding what undergraduate degree to apply for after doing my leaving certificate. And I was very interested in accounting and finance, and I was attracted to the BCom degree at UCD, like my brother, having done it before me. So it felt natural to go for the same thing, like a broad-based business degree. And yet I wondered, how will that help me continue the literature, the culture, the language side of education that I also really enjoyed, so there was kind of 2 parts to me. I love the numbers, I love maths, I love accountancy, but I also love French, and I loved English literature, and I love the Irish and all of this. So I realized that with the business and language programs, so they're very common in different universities nowadays, there was an option to do commerce and French at UCD. And there I saw this opportunity to marry up both my interests, to do the thing that I was enjoying, which is sort of business, maths, finance, accounting kind of stuff, but to really honor that value of curiosity, to keep that door open what are other countries like? What are other people like? And specifically in the case of French, learning more about France and the language of French, the history of France. So for me, when I could have gone down a path of, sort of plain and simple, be calm, sticking to what I could do best, I realized I chose commerce and French because I was curious. I really wanted to go beyond just the business side of life. And looking back now, I can really see that as a concrete example where I made a choice to do something a bit more hybrid because of my core value of curiosity.
Okay, you've explained that really well. Thank you, Breandan. Can you give an example of how disability has challenged or got in the way of you demonstrating and honouring this core value?
Well, because of my partial sight, so I've been losing my sight slowly over the last 20 years, and it continues slowly to get worse. I was quite sad and shocked at the start. So I was in my early career when I first was diagnosed with this eye disease. And I got worried, how do I keep up with my emails and how do I keep up with, spreadsheets and PowerPoint slides? And I was working in banking at the time and, very heavy visuals, very heavy data load, lots of volume, lots of speed. And I was actually quite worried, quite stressed about this, thinking about, well, what does this mean for my career? What does it mean for my job? What does it mean even for my identity if I cannot uh, be curious anymore, right? How can you be curious about reading or looking at things when you start to have problems with your eyesight, So I really felt that it was a challenge in those early years when I felt that my core value of curiosity was almost being snuffed out by my progressively worse vision.
Okay, we're very well explained. Can you give an example of how disability has helped or enhanced your ability to demonstrate and honour this core value?
Well, little did I know in those early years, as I struggled, and many of us do, right, with any of these challenges that come to us in life, there was something else slowly starting to reveal itself. And here's what happened. In the bank where I worked, I couldn't read signs anymore. I had to ask people for directions. So suddenly I started to meet a lot more people, a lot of my colleagues I got to know because I literally would have to go up to people and ask them questions like, where is this meeting room and where is that handout or printout or whatever? And that's a really simple example, but asking colleagues to audio describe visual things, my sight loss forced me to interact more with other people because I could not be as independent as I used to be. But guess what happened? I got to know a lot more people. And that's actually something that's happened ever since, both inside my work and outside. I am forced, by virtue of my sight loss, to interact more with the general public and with colleagues in the office. And what I love about that scenario is I've got to know far more people than I ever would have done had my sight been perfect. So for me, while it has been a challenge in the early years and still at times is very tough, I'm really glad to say that my ability to connect with other people, my ability to start talking to strangers, to break the ice, my ability to continue to be curious, I think is actually enhanced by the fact that I just have to do it in order to adapt, in order to get on in work and outside.
That's great. Thank you so much, Breandan. And you've really given us an insight into, how breaking that ice, as well as you finding out where you have to go and meeting more people, they will have a greater understanding of the diversity of people who are working in the organization. So thank you so much. That was a great interview.
Thanks a lot, Claire. And just to recap for everyone, so what we've done there is we've gone through an exercise of 4 questions, the 4 questions that Claire asked me. We invite you all to try this at home in your own time. We'll share to the group the handout with the questions on it. And then when we come back in the new year for our next Working Age Forum, we will take that material, take those insights, take those answers from this exercise and see how can we use them in a persuasive way in interviews, in discussions, in any kind of professional setting to help us show up authentically and also to disclose our disability with reality, with confidence, and with persuasion. So thank you, everyone. And we send you, Claire and I, best wishes for International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.